In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it.
Right now in China, Uyghurs are being tracked and traced, their every move recorded and monitored by facial recognition and AI-powered systems. Technologies provided in part by American companies like NVIDIA and Intel. Could these technologies be coming to your neighborhood anytime soon? Consider Clearview AI, whose facial recognition tech scrapped billions of images from the web and now threatens our anonymity. Or Palantir, whose data mining tools are used by governments worldwide, including our own, to track populations and predict behavior. Not if I have any say in the matter, so tune in, join the resistance, and follow me to freedom. I am the cigarette smoking man. Surveillance capitalism. The phrase conjures images of cameras on every corner, but it's far more insidious than that. It's not just about governments watching you, it's about corporations mining your soul. Think of it as the new engine of capitalism, powered by your personal data, refined by complex algorithms, and sold to the highest bidder. A new economic logic based on prediction and control. So Shana Zuboff, a name you should remember, calls it the age of behavioral surplus. Every click, every search, every like. It's all extracted, analyzed, and transformed into prediction products. Your future behavior bought and sold on the open market. It's not about improving services, it's about predicting and shaping your actions. Don't believe me? Consider this. Big Pharma's thirst for genetic data. Companies like 23andMe aren't just selling your ancestry reports. They're building massive databases of genetic information ripe for exploitation by pharmaceutical giants and insurance companies. Personalized medicine, maybe. Genetic discrimination, certainly a risk. Social media's manipulation machine. Meta, TikTok, X. The names are legion. They use advanced algorithms to curate your feed, subtly shaping your perceptions, exploiting your vulnerabilities, and stoking your outrage. The goal? Engagement, your attention, monetized and sold to the advertisers, driving societal polarization and the decay of informed discourse. Autonomous systems, promise of control. Self-driving vehicles, AI-powered drones, smart city surveillance grids. The world is being wired and watched. Tesla, Waymo, all building the digital architecture of control. And the new avenues for mass surveillance, data exploitation, ethical quagmires, and the potential for misuse by corporate or state entities. They want to know what you think, how you feel, and what you'll do next, and they'll use that information against you, to nudge you, to guide you, to control you. It is a new opium, enslaving society with algorithms instead of chemical addiction. This isn't about free will. It's about engineered choices. They want you docile, predictable, profitable. Exhibit A, the algorithmic Leviathan, China's social credit system and mass surveillance. Let's talk about China, not the mythical land of silk and tea, but the modern-day surveillance state, a real-world demonstration of where unchecked technological advancement can lead. Forget Orwell's 1984, they've turned it into a user manual. At the heart of this digital dystopia lies the Great Firewall. More than just a censorship tool, it's a digital barrier, a carefully constructed prison wall, that isolates the Chinese internet from the outside world, allowing the government to control the flow of information and monitor every online interaction. Imagine a world where your access to knowledge is dictated by the state. That's far-fetched? Just wait. But the true horror show is the social credit system. Think of it as a nationwide gamification of obedience. Every citizen is assigned a score based on a vast array of data points: their online activity, their purchase habits, their social interactions, even their behavior in public. Support the party, your score goes up. Criticize the government, down it goes. Forget to pay your bills, down. Play your music too loud, down. This was dramatized in an episode of Black Mirror called Nosedive. I advocate people watch that to get a taste of what the elite have in store for us. The consequences of a low score are severe: travel restrictions, limited access to jobs and education, social ostracization. You become a digital pariah, an unperson. It's a system designed to enforce conformity, to stifle dissent, to crush individuality. It's the worst kind of digital cage. The technology behind the tyranny. How do they do it? Ubiquitous facial recognition technology, that's how. Companies like Hikvision, Dahua, SenseTime, and Megvii, all implicated in human rights abuses, by the way, have blanketed the country with cameras, turning every street corner into a potential surveillance point. Combine that with big data analytics and AI, and you have a system capable of tracking and identifying individuals in real time, predicting their behavior and flagging potential threats to the regime. Let's not forget the role of Chinese tech giants like Huawei. They're not just building smartphones, they're building the infrastructure of control, the networks and servers that power this surveillance state. They spread the chains of digital control for the profit of the few and the enslavement of the many. A foreign horror show, or a potential blueprint. Is this merely a foreign horror show? Something that can never happen here? Don't be so sure. The technology exists. The desire for control is universal, and the erosion of privacy is happening right now before our eyes. China may be the most extreme example, but the underlying principles of surveillance capitalism are at play everywhere. We are merely frogs slowly boiling in the pot, and the Chinese already feel the heat. Is this the future we want? A world where every action is monitored? Every thought is scrutinized, every individual is judged by an algorithm? It's time to wake up, folks, before it's too late. This is a wake-up call to freedom. The American paradox: exporting control, importing vulnerability. The quintessential American contradiction: preaching freedom while simultaneously arming the world with the very tools of its suppression. We build the digital cage, then feign surprise when we find ourselves locked inside. Our tech titans, draped in the flag of innovation, are the new arms dealers, peddling surveillance technologies to anyone with a checkbook. Palantir, with its data mining sorcery, finding a home in governments both democratic and despotic. Clearview AI, scrapping the internet clean, turning faces into commodities for law enforcement, and well, whoever else can afford the privilege. These are merely the names that dare to peek out from the shadows, the iceberg tips of a much larger and colder reality. Consider the military-industrial surveillance complex. Government contracts fueling corporate coffers, incentivizing the development of ever more intrusive technologies. Data analytics platforms designed to predict and preempt threats, conveniently blurring the line between genuine risk, and political dissent. Network security tools that monitor communications under the guise of protection, quietly building profiles on citizens under surveillance. The promises of homeland security, national defense, empty words justifying the slow creep of control. And where does all this data reside? Increasingly, in the sprawling server farms of Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure. cloud providers becoming the unseen infrastructure of global surveillance, hosting the data, providing the AI, enabling the very systems that erode privacy and freedom. They may not pull the trigger, but they supply the bullets. The true danger lies in the boomerang effect. These technologies, perfected and deployed abroad, inevitably find their way back home. Facial recognition in airports, predictive policing in our cities, social media monitoring by, well, everyone. The same tools to suppress dissidents in distant lands are now being used to monitor our own citizens, eroding freedoms under the guise of security or efficiency. A chilling echo of the Cold War, but this time the enemy is not a foreign power, but the very technology we created. The bitter irony is almost too much to bear. We export control, and in return, we import vulnerability. We build a cage, and then wonder why we can't breathe. Freedom, it seems, is a commodity best sold abroad, not practiced at home. Message from the shadows, the Skillcraft pen, an ode to the record keepers. Time for a quick drag, and a word from those who understand the subtle art of documentation. In my world, certain tools are indispensable. The Skillcraft U.S. government pen, not flashy, but utterly reliable. It's the pen of choice from mahogany-lined boardrooms to dimly lit interrogation cells. It's been seen in everything from treaty signings to the recording of confessions. Skillcraft, meticulously crafted right here in the United States, built to endure, to stand the test of time. It's been used to create the official record, for better or worse. Skillcraft, the official pen of the permanent record. Make sure your story is written correctly, or at least legibly. The walls have ears and algorithms. Your smart home and IoT as embedded informants. They say a man's home is his castle, but what happens when your castle is bugged? When the very devices you invite into your living room become informants, diligently collecting data and sending it back to the corporate overlords. Welcome to the era of the smart home snitch. Let's start with the obvious. Smart speakers, Amazon Echo, Google Nest. Those seemingly innocent devices are always listening, waiting for their activation phrase. But they're also recording snippets of your conversations, analyzing your voice patterns, and building a profile of your habits and preferences. Amazon, in particular, has faced scrutiny for its Alexa voice assistant, with reports detailing how human reviewers, listen to recordings to improve the service. It's quality control, they claim. I call it eavesdropping. Then there are smart TVs, Samsung, LG, Vizio. They all collect data on your viewing habits, tracking what you watch, when you watch it, and how long you watch it for. Some even have built-in cameras that can potentially capture your facial expressions. Vizio, for example, was fined millions by the FTC for collecting and selling viewing data without user consent. They claimed it was anonymized, but the reality is that such data can often be re-identified. And don't forget the connected appliances, smart refrigerators that track your grocery purchases, smart thermometers that monitor your heating and cooling preferences, smart washing machines that analyze your laundry habits, even your home security system, with its Ring cameras and motion sensors, is collecting data on who comes and goes, when they arrive, and how long they stay. Amazon, which owns Ring, has partnered with law enforcement agencies, giving them access to footage without a warrant in some cases. Security or surveillance, you decide. All of this data is fed into sophisticated algorithms, creating what they call a digital twin of your existence, a virtual representation of your habits, preferences, and behaviors. This data is used for more than just targeted ads. It's used for influence, for behavioral shaping. They're not just trying to sell you products. They're trying to mold you into the ideal consumer, the perfect citizen, docile, predictable, and profitable. The illusion of privacy is powerful. We feel safe within our own four walls, unaware that devices we welcomed into our homes are quietly collecting data, building profiles, and sending it back to the corporate headquarters. They're snitches in a velvet glove, betraying our trust for the sake of profit and control. Social media's iron grip, engineering addiction and manufacturing consent. They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I say it's paved with likes, shares, and carefully curated algorithms. Social media, the great connector, the digital town square, more like the digital prison yard, where you're not just trading your freedom for likes, but for carefully constructed illusions of connection. Let's dissect the beast, shall we? The unholy trinity, Meta, TikTok, X. They aren't just platforms, they're empires, built on the bedrock of your personal data. Meta, Facebook and Instagram, the aging behemoth, still reign supreme in data collection. Every post, every friend request, every ad you click is all meticulously recorded, analyzed, and weaponized. Their algorithms, once hailed as technological marvels, are now exposed as engines of division, amplifying outrage and reinforcing echo chambers. Remember Cambridge Analytica? A mere prelude to the sophisticated manipulation tactics they employ today. Then there's TikTok, the Chinese-owned sensation, addicting youth on a massive scale. Short-form videos, endless scrolling, an algorithm designed to exploit the human attention span to its absolute limit. But it's more than just harmless fun. TikTok harvests vast amounts of user data, including location, browsing history, and even biometric information. Concerns about data security and potential censorship are legion, and its close ties to the Chinese government are deeply troubling. The cultural implications of our society becoming hypnotized by short-form content is unknown, and the risks are substantial. Let's not forget X, formerly Twitter, the self-proclaimed bastion of free speech, now teetering on the brink of irrelevance perhaps, or perhaps dominance through misinformation. Once a vital platform for journalists and activists, it's now a breeding ground for misinformation and propaganda, where bots and trolls roam free, and the signal-to-noise ratio is approaching zero. Elon Musk's changes to the platform may have broken the camel's back here, and many users have left. But I'm not convinced that it's completely a bad thing that Musk has taken over. We will just have to see in time. The algorithmic Skinner box. These platforms aren't just massive conduits of information. They're active manipulators of your behavior. The news feed, the recommendation engine, the endless scroll. These are all carefully engineered to maximize engagement and data extraction. They employ psychological techniques like intermittent variable rewards, the unpredictable nature of likes and comments, fear of missing out, and filter bubbles reinforcing your existing beliefs to keep you hooked. It's a digital Skinner box, training you to crave the next hit of validation, the next dopamine rush. Data is currency, targeted manipulation, and political profiling. All that harvested data is worth more than gold. It's used for sophisticated targeted advertising, political profiling, and influencing public opinion. They know your fears, your desires, and your vulnerabilities. They use that knowledge to sell you products, promote political agendas, and shape your perceptions of the world. They have micro-targeted messages to exploit your weaknesses, and you will have no idea this happened. Cambridge Analytica was just the tip of the iceberg. Today, the methods are far more advanced, far more subtle, and far more pervasive. The very fabric of reality is being manipulated, one algorithm at a time. They've turned the digital world into a casino, and you are the mark. Breaking free, reclaiming your digital sovereignty. Can you escape the social media trap? It won't be easy. The platforms are designed to be addictive, to be inescapable. But awareness is the first step. Question everything. Turn off notifications. Limit your screen time. Curate your feed. Seek out diverse perspectives. Don't be afraid to disconnect and take a break. The real world is still out there, waiting to be explored. And maybe, just maybe, you can reclaim a little piece of your mind. So put the phone down. Spend some time with your kids. Have a barbecue. Soak up some sunshine. The pharmaceutical panopticon, big pharma, data mining, and predictive health control. Big pharma, they used to sell just pills, didn't they? Now they're mining your DNA, tracking your every heartbeat, and predicting your future ailments. It's not just about healing anymore, it's about control. These multinational corporations, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and Roche, the list goes on, and a growing ecosystem of health tech companies are building a pharmaceutical panopticon, and you are the subject of their experiment. Data as the new drug, sources and methods. Where are they getting all this data? Everywhere. Your electronic health records, EHRs, of course, are a gold mine. Every diagnosis, every prescription, every lab result, all digitized, aggregated, and analyzed. Medical research, often funded by these same companies, generates vast data sets on patient populations, their responses to treatments, and the progression of their diseases. But it doesn't stop there. The rise of wearable technology has opened up a whole new frontier of data collection. Your Fitbit, your Apple Watch. They're not just tracking your steps, they're monitoring your heart rate, your sleep patterns, your activity levels. All that data is being fed back to the manufacturers, who are then selling it to Big Pharma for a tidy profit. These companies should be paying you for this shit. And then there's the genetic testing services like 23andMe and Ancestry DNA. You spit in a tube, send it off, and get back a report on your ancestry. Harmless fun, right? Wrong. You've been giving these companies access to your genetic code, the blueprint of your existence. That data is incredibly valuable to pharmaceutical companies, who can use it to develop personalized medicines and identify individuals at risk for certain diseases. This could potentially also be used for ethnospecific biological weapons, which have already been theorized. These pharmaceutical companies often partner with tech companies to analyze the fire hose of data. They're using AI and machine learning to identify patterns, predict outcomes, and personalize treatments. It's all about efficiency, they say, about providing better care, but at what cost? The ethical quagmire, privacy, discrimination, and coercion. The ethical implications of all of this are staggering. Patient privacy is being eroded at an alarming rate. Data breaches are becoming increasingly common, and sensitive health information is being exposed to hackers and criminals. The potential for genetic discrimination is very real, and was featured in the movie Gattaca from the 90s, if you remember that. Insurance companies could use genetic data to deny coverage to individuals at risk for certain diseases. Employers could use it to screen out potential hires. And then there's the subtle coercion towards certain medical treatments or lifestyle changes based on predictive profiles. If the algorithms determine that you're a high risk for a certain disease, you may find yourself being pressured to take preventative medications or adopt a certain lifestyle. Is this true prevention or just another form of control? The question, as always, is cui bono? Who truly benefits from this predictive health control? The patients or pharmaceutical companies who are profiting handsomely from the sale of data and the development of new drugs? It's time to wake up and smell the formaldehyde. This isn't about your health, it's about their wealth, and your freedom is the price. The rise of the machines, autonomous systems, and the future of automated control. They promised us a Jetsons future, flying cars, robot maids, and lives of leisure. What we're getting is something far more sinister, a world increasingly controlled by machines, algorithms, and the cold, unblinking gaze of artificial intelligence. This so-called autonomous revolution isn't about convenience, it's about control. Autonomous vehicles, data collection on wheels. Take self-driving cars, for example. Tesla, Waymo, Cruise, they're all racing to put these vehicles out on our streets. Sounds great. Right? No more traffic jams, no more accidents. But consider this. These cars are essentially rolling surveillance platforms. They're equipped with an array of sensors, cameras, LiDAR, radar. constantly recording everything around them, every street corner, every pedestrian, every license plate. Tesla, in particular, is notorious for its extensive use of cameras, both inside and outside the vehicle. They claim it's for security and safety, for autopilot functionality, but all that data is being collected, analyzed, and stored. Who has access to it? What are they doing with it? Could it be used to track your movements, monitor your behavior, or even infer your political leanings? Don't dismiss it as paranoia. It's the logical conclusion of a world awash in data. Drones, eyes in the sky. And then there are drones. Once relegated to the battlefield, they're now ubiquitous, buzzing overhead like metallic insects. Law enforcement uses them for surveillance. Private security companies use them for monitoring. And malicious actors, well, let your imagination run wild. Drones equipped with AI-powered facial recognition software can be made for a few $100 and can identify individuals from hundreds of feet away. They can track your movements, analyze your behavior, and even predict your future actions. AI in decision-making, the black box problem. But the rise of autonomous systems goes beyond vehicles and drones. AI is increasingly being used to make decisions that affect our lives. From predictive policing algorithms that determine who gets arrested to algorithmic trading systems that manipulate financial markets. The problem is, these systems are often black boxes. We don't know how they work, what data they're using, or what biases they might contain. This lack of transparency and accountability is a recipe for disaster. Companies like Palantir, known for their data analytics capabilities, are deeply embedded in these systems, providing the technological infrastructure for automated decision-making. And let's not forget the chilling prospect of autonomous weapon systems, machines that can decide who lives and who dies without human intervention. It's the stuff of science fiction nightmares, but it's rapidly becoming a reality. Companies like Boston Dynamics, now owned by Hyundai, are developing increasingly sophisticated robots that can easily be weaponized. The potential for misuse is staggering. We're sleepwalking into a future where control is increasingly automated, opaque, and unaccountable. A future where our lives are governed by algorithms, not by laws. It's time to wake up and demand transparency, accountability, and a say in the decisions that shape our world. Strategic maneuvers, a word from Monarch Holdings International. In a world of shadows and surveillance, some choose to understand the game and play it strategically. A message from Monarch Holdings International. Monarch Holdings International, registered in Nevada, is an innovative holding company dedicated to fostering entrepreneurial spirit and creativity, advancing libertarian principles like individual liberty and free markets. They achieve this through strategic investments in ventures. They employ cutting-edge business intelligence tools like IBM SPSS, IBM Watson and AI, and Palantir for advanced data-driven insights, providing a strategic advantage in an age where data is power. Monarch Holdings helps you understand the patterns, perhaps even turn the tables. They champion free expression and support overlooked talent. Monarch Holdings International, unlocking your potential with cutting-edge business intelligence, or as I might say, knowing which way the wind is blowing before the storm hits. The illusion of choice, terms and conditions, and the normalization of surveillance. They offer you a deal, wrapped in the language of convenience and connectivity, access to a world of information, instant communication, and endless entertainment. All they ask in return is everything. That's the illusion of choice, the grand deception at the heart of surveillance capitalism. The terms and conditions, a legal labyrinth designed to obfuscate, not inform. Lengthy, dense, and impenetrable to the average human. Who actually reads them? We click agree without a second thought, trading away our privacy for the fleeting promise of digital gratification. It's the modern-day equivalent of selling your soul to the devil, only you don't even get a cool song out of it. This constant, often invisible observation becomes normalized. We accept it as the unavoidable price of admission to the digital world. This all could have been avoided if we would pay just, some people say, $15 for our internet services instead of getting it for free and making this deal with these companies. A subtle but insidious form of conditioning. The chilling effect on self-expression and thought is real. Knowing you're being watched changes your behavior. You self-censor, you conform, you become a more predictable, more manageable subject. The insidious part of this bargain is insufficient information and implied coercion. Opting out is presented as a viable choice, but it's a false one. In an increasingly digital world, refusing to participate means social and economic exile, no access to essential services, no ability to connect with friends and family, no chance to participate in the modern economy, so we reluctantly comply, sacrificing our privacy on the altar of convenience. They've turned freedom into an illusion by slowly normalizing the theft of your personal information and life. Digital resistance, tactics for reclaiming autonomy in a surveilled world. All right, folks, enough of the doom and gloom. I've painted a bleak picture, I know, but even in the darkest times, a single spark can ignite a revolution. This isn't just about understanding the problem, it's about fighting back, about reclaiming your digital sovereignty one bite at a time. Digital disobedience, a practical guide. Let's talk tactics. Forget about grand gestures. We're talking about small acts of defiance, consistently applied. Think of it as a digital guerrilla warfare. We're not going to win the war, but we can make their lives a living hell. Data minimization. This is your first line of defense. Ask yourself, do I really need this app? Do I really need to share this information? The less data you generate, the less they can collect. Starve the beast. Embrace open source. Ditch the proprietary software whenever possible. Choose open source alternatives like Linux, LibreOffice, or the Brave browser. Why? Because open source means transparency. You can see what the code is doing, and you can be sure it's not spying on you. Obfuscate, obfuscate, obfuscate. Make your data dirty. Tools like ad nauseum drown your real browsing habits in a sea of noise, confusing the trackers. Explore tools that add random searches to your history. Become a glitch in their system. Privacy-respecting operating systems. Consider operating systems built with privacy in mind. Tails is designed for anonymity, routing all your traffic through Tor. Graphene OS enhances privacy and security on mobile devices. Support digital rights organizations. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, EFF, Access Now, Fight for the Future. These organizations are on the front lines, fighting for your digital rights. Support them, donate to them, make your voice heard. Beyond the basics, advanced tactics. Ready to take it to the next level. These tactics require a bit more technical know-how, but they can significantly enhance your privacy. Self-hosting. Host your own email server, your own cloud storage, your own website. It's not easy, but it gives you complete control over your data. Experiment with Raspberry Pi computers. Decentralized networks. Explore decentralized social platforms and messaging apps. These platforms are designed to be resistant to censorship and surveillance. Cryptocurrency. Use privacy-focused cryptocurrencies like Monero to conduct transactions anonymously. The political battlefield, advocacy and legislation. Individual action is important, but it's not enough. We need stronger privacy laws to protect our rights. Advocate for legislation like GDPR or CCPA, which give individuals more control over their data. Demand transparency from corporations and governments. Hold them accountable for their actions. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. The surveillance state isn't going away anytime soon, but we can resist. We can reclaim our autonomy. We can make their lives a little harder. One click, one choice, one act of defiance at a time. The human element, beyond the code and the corporations. We've dissected the technology, exposed the corporate greed, and traced the insidious tendrils of surveillance capitalism. But let's step back for a moment, shall we? Beyond the code and the corporations, there's something far more fundamental at stake, our humanity. What happens when trust erodes? when every interaction is potentially monitored, every thought scrutinized. The chilling effect is palpable. People become afraid to speak their minds, to express dissenting opinions. The marketplace of ideas becomes a carefully curated echo chamber, reinforcing existing biases and stifling genuine dialogue. This isn't just about politics, it's about the decay of human connection. Consider the mental health implications, the constant barrage of curated images on social media, the relentless pressure to project a perfect image, the addictive nature of likes and validation. It all takes a toll. Anxiety, depression, a pervasive sense of inadequacy. These are the hallmarks of the digital age. We're drowning in information, yet starved for genuine connection. What's the antidote? Cultivating offline connections, building real communities, sharing experiences that aren't mediated by screens and algorithms. Talk to your neighbors, join a club, volunteer your time. Remember what it means to be human, to connect with others on a visceral, unfiltered level. Solidarity is our armor in this digital war, and have more sex for God's sakes. At its core, the fight against surveillance capitalism is a fight for our very essence, for the right to privacy, to autonomy, to think and feel and express ourselves without fear of judgment and manipulation, for the right to be human. Don't let them steal that from you. Final broadcast, the unblinking eye and the unyielding spirit. The digital panopticon is complete. Their eyes are everywhere, their algorithms relentless. They listen to your whispers and track your every move. It's a bleak picture, I know, but succumbing isn't inevitable. The most crucial surveillance isn't theirs, it's your own. Watch out for your freedom. Observe the watchers. Join the resistance. Stay informed. Question everything. Make conscious choices. Use their tools against them where you can. Seek out encrypted communication. Protect your location data. They want you predictable. Don't give them the satisfaction. Dare to be unpredictable. Glitch in their system. Be the anomaly they can't algorithmically categorize. Until next time, I'm the cigarette smoking man. Thanks for being here with me tonight.